The murder of Alexandria Ally Kostial, a 21-year-old University of Mississippi student, shocked the nation and left a lasting impact on her community. This video delves into the life of Ally Kostial, the events leading up to her tragic death, the investigation that followed, and the subsequent legal proceedings. But first, subscribe to our channel for more content, and don't forget to share it with your friends and family. Alexandria Ally Madison Kostial was born on September 11, 1997, in St. Louis, Missouri. She grew up in a loving family with her parents, Keith and Cindy Kostial, and her brother Andrew. From a young age, Ally displayed a vibrant personality and a passion for life that would define her throughout her years. Ally attended Lindbergh High School in St. Louis, where she was an active and accomplished student. During her high school years, she participated in a wide range of activities that showcased her diverse interests and talents. Ally was a member of the cheerleading squad and the track and field team, demonstrating her athletic abilities. She also showed leadership potential through her involvement in youth in government and the National Honor Society. Additionally, Ally was part of the golf team, foreshadowing her later involvement in golf-related activities in college. Beyond her academic and extracurricular achievements, Ally's compassionate nature was evident in her volunteer work. She traveled to Peru and Africa to teach English to young children, displaying her desire to make a positive impact on the world. These experiences likely contributed to her sense of adventure and her ability to connect with people from diverse backgrounds. Ally graduated from Lindbergh High School in 2016, ready to embark on the next chapter of her life at the University of Mississippi. Their relationship was tumultuous and on and off, never officially becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. Despite the instability, Ally continued to communicate with Brandon, hoping for a resolution to their complicated relationship. In the fall of 2016, Ally met Brandon Thiesfeld, a fellow student from Fort Worth, Texas. Ally Kostial and Brandon Thiesfeld's relationship began around the same period. Despite this, Ally remained hopeful that things might improve between them. Friends and acquaintances noted that their relationship was often tumultuous, with Brandon exhibiting erratic behavior and a lack of commitment, which caused concern among those close to Ally. In the summer of 2019, Ally confided in her friends about a possible pregnancy, a revelation that added a new layer of complexity to her already strained relationship with Brandon. Text messages and phone records later revealed that Ally had reached out to Brandon to discuss the pregnancy, hoping for his support and understanding. However, Brandon's response was far from supportive. He was adamant that he did not want a child and pressured Ally to terminate the pregnancy. This situation created significant emotional stress for Ally, who was already dealing with the uncertainty of their relationship. Ally's friends were wary of Brandon from the outset. They observed his inconsistent behavior and were concerned about the way he treated Ally. Many of them felt that he was manipulative and did not have Ally's best interests at heart. These concerns were amplified when Ally shared her fears and hopes regarding the pregnancy, as her friends could see the toll it was taking on her. Despite their warnings and advice, Ally continued to communicate with Brandon, perhaps holding on to the hope that he would eventually come around and support her. On the night of July 19, 2019, Ally was seen on surveillance video leaving a bar in Oxford Square. She took an Uber home alone, but later that night, Brandon picked her up from her apartment. They drove to an abandoned fishing camp at Sardis Lake, a remote location about 30 miles from campus. Ally Kostial, a 21-year-old student at the University of Mississippi, was tragically murdered on July 20, 2019. She was 17 weeks pregnant. Her body was discovered near a deserted fishing camp at Sardis Lake, approximately 30 miles from the university campus. Ally had been shot multiple times, with investigators reporting at least 9 gunshot wounds, making the crime particularly brutal. The discovery was made after gunshots were heard in the area, prompting local authorities to investigate further. The severity and nature of the crime raised immediate questions about the motivations behind such a violent act. The prime suspect in the case was Brandon Thiesfeld, a fellow student with whom Ally had an on and off relationship. Investigators quickly focused on Thiesfeld after learning about the strained dynamics between him and Ally, particularly surrounding discussions about a potential pregnancy. Thiesfeld initially evaded law enforcement, but was apprehended 3 days later at a gas station in South Memphis. He was found with the murder weapon and wearing bloody clothes. Shortly after his arrest, Brandon's father, Daniel Thiesfeld, expressed his conviction that his son was innocent. In a statement to WMC-TV, Daniel said, "I know my son is innocent, and I have reasons to believe that I can't share anything now. But I would ask everybody to please give him the presumption of innocence until proven otherwise." This statement underscored the family's hope that the legal process would exonerate Brandon. The investigation into Ally Kostial's murder revealed a series of disturbing actions taken by Brandon Thiesfeld in the days leading up to the crime. After Ally confided in him about a possible pregnancy, Thiesfeld's behavior became increasingly erratic. He traveled to his home in Fort Worth, Texas, where he retrieved a .40-caliber Glock pistol, which had been purchased by his father. This trip was documented on social media, where he posted a photo of the gun with the caption, "Finally taking my baby back to Oxford." This act of retrieving the weapon was a significant turning point, indicating premeditation and a clear intent to confront Ally. This trip was documented on social media, where he posted a photo of the gun with the caption, "Finally taking my baby back to Oxford." This act of retrieving the weapon was a significant turning point, indicating premeditation and a clear intent to confront Ally. Thiesfeld's internet search history provided further insight into his state of mind and potential motives. He conducted searches on how to obtain silencers and suppressors for his firearm, indicating a desire to conceal the noise of the gunshots. More chillingly, he researched information on serial killer Ted Bundy, specifically how Bundy lured his victims. These searches painted a picture of someone who was not only planning a violent act, but also seeking to emulate notorious criminal behavior. Thiesfeld's fixation on these topics suggested a deep-seated and troubling mindset. In addition to his online searches, Thiesfeld left behind a letter addressed to his parents, which was found in his apartment after the murder. The letter contained a disturbing confession of his inner turmoil and acknowledgement of his actions. He wrote, "I'm not a good person. It is not your fault. Something in me just doesn't work. I've always had terrible thoughts. I've always had these feelings. I just kind of fell off. I think this is the end for me. I'm either going to prison or going to die. I know I'm going to get caught." This letter provided a glimpse into his psyche, revealing a sense of inevitability about his fate and a profound recognition of his own moral failings. When Thiesfeld was apprehended on July 22, 2019, at a gas station in South Memphis, he was found with the murder weapon and wearing bloody clothes. This evidence, combined with the ballistic matches to the shell casings found at the crime scene, solidified the case against him. Thiesfeld's actions, from the retrieval of the gun to his internet searches and the confessional letter, all pointed to a premeditated and calculated murder. The trial of Brandon Thiesfeld for the murder of Ally Kostial was a significant event that brought closure to a deeply grieving community. Thiesfeld initially faced a capital murder charge, which could have resulted in the death penalty. However, he ultimately pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, a charge carrying a mandatory life sentence. The plea deal was reached after extensive negotiations between his defense attorney, Tony Farese, and the prosecution. This agreement spared Thiesfeld from the death penalty, but ensured he would spend a substantial part of his life in prison. The trial was presided over by Judge Kelly Luther at the Lafayette County Courthouse, where Thiesfeld's guilty plea was formally accepted. During the trial, the prosecution laid out a detailed account of the events leading up to Ally's murder. Assistant District Attorney Mickey Millett presented the state's evidence, which included Thiesfeld's internet search history, text messages, and the circumstances of his trip to Texas to retrieve the murder weapon. The prosecution highlighted Thiesfeld's disturbing online searches for abortion pills, silencers, and information on serial killer Ted Bundy, which painted a chilling picture of premeditation. Millett also read statements from Ally's parents, who expressed their profound grief and the devastating impact of her loss on their lives. The defense strategy focused on Thiesfeld's mental state and his acknowledgement of guilt. Defense attorney Tony Farese presented a mental evaluation conducted in October 2020, which determined that Thiesfeld was sane and competent to stand trial. Farese emphasized that Thiesfeld had expressed remorse for his actions and had written a letter to his parents, revealing his troubled state of mind. In the letter, Thiesfeld admitted to having terrible thoughts and feeling off, suggesting a deep internal struggle. The defense aimed to show that while Thiesfeld's actions were inexcusable, they were the result of a troubled and disturbed individual. Brandon Thiesfeld's own testimonials during the trial were marked by expressions of regret and sorrow. He apologized to both Ally's family and his own, acknowledging the irreversible pain he had caused. "I am sincerely sorry for the pain I've caused while taking Ally from you," Thiesfeld said in court, adding that he wished he could take back his actions, but knew he could not. His emotional statements were an attempt to seek forgiveness and demonstrate his remorse, though he did not provide a clear motive for the murder beyond his general sense of being a bad person. The verdict resulted in Thiesfeld being sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of conditional release at the age of 65 after serving at least 15 years of his sentence. This outcome provided some measure of justice for Ally's family, though it could never fully heal the wounds caused by her untimely death. The case underscored the tragic consequences of unresolved personal conflicts and the importance of recognizing and addressing signs of mental distress. The murder of Ally Kostial left a profound impact on her friends, family, and the University of Mississippi community. Vigils and memorials were held in her honor, and the hashtag Justice for Ally gained traction on social media as people sought to remember her life and legacy. Ally's friends have spoken out about the lessons they learned from her and how they are trying to live their lives in a way that honors her memory. They remember her as a shining light who could turn any bad day into a good one and who always looked on the positive side of any situation. The tragic murder of Ally Kostial serves as a stark reminder of the potential dangers that can arise from tumultuous relationships and unaddressed mental health issues. It also highlights the importance of remembering and celebrating the lives of those lost to senseless violence. Ally Kostial's legacy lives on through the memories of her friends and family, who continue to honor her vibrant spirit and positive impact on their lives.